the clerk call the roll. Let me say that if you are a committee member and you are joining us, via the video, just let us know if you are in your annex office on campus or from your district. So please call the roll.
Representative Blanton,
Here.
Representative Bowling,
Here.
Representative Bridges,
Here.
Representative Birch, Representative Cantrell, Representative Dossett, Representative Dotson,
Here.
Representative Duplessis,
Here.
Representative Flannery,
Here.
Representative Fugate,
Here.
Representative Johnson,
Here.
Representative Kirk McCormick, Representative Representative Miles,
Here.
Representative Gibbons Prunty,
Here.
Representative Scott, Representative Stevenson, Representative Wesley,
Here.
Representative Wilner.
I'm here in my district.
Thank you, Representative. Representative White. Chair Gooch.
Here. Okay, we do have a quorum. Members, we're glad to have Representative Bowling back with us, and we are so sorry for your loss. And I served with your dad for many, many years, and he was a mentor to me, and I know he certainly will be missed. And great guy. We're going to take up 3 bills today. The first bill is House Bill 392. That's my bill. I'm probably just going to do this from the chair, if it's okay with everyone. House Bill 392 is the same bill as House Bill 403 last year that passed the House 96-0. What it really does, it's a bill that I brought for the Public Service Commission. I think they are here on Zoom to testify today. But most of you are aware of the LIHEAP program. That's a program that helps, it's a government program that helps low-income people help pay their utility bills. Well, some of the utilities have voluntary programs where people can maybe donate extra or round their bills up or whatever to help pay for someone who maybe can't pay their bill. And all this really does is it sets the same income levels for people to qualify that's in the LIHEAP program. Doesn't have any kind of physical impact to the state or anything like that. So we have a motion and second on the bill. I think we do have Karen Wilson here with us and maybe others. Karen, would you like to say anything or
Hello. I don't have anything to add, but we are here if anybody has any questions, Linda Bridwell and I.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're glad to have the executive director with us today. So there's a motion on the bill and a second. Any questions? Ask the.
Attica Scott just joined Zoom. I don't know if she's in her
Okay.
office.
I'll ask. Okay. Before we vote, Representative Scott has joined us, and are you in your annex office, Representative?
I'm president of my annex office.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
thank
fine.
you.
That's great. So we will come to you in the roll call. Thank you. Please call the roll. Oh, someone has a. Oh.
Well, this has nothing to do with the late fees on the water bill.
No.
Okay, thank
No,
you.
this bill is strictly so that if someone wants to give money, they can give money to their utilities. There probably only maybe one utility in the state that really has one of these kind of volunteer programs where people can give a little extra to help pay for someone else. All this bill does is the amount that you in order to qualify, it sets the income level. It actually would raise the income level to the same level as the LIHEAP program. So it really means that more people would qualify to get assistance paying their bill. So
Okay, thank you.
is that pretty good, Karen Wilson?
Yes, you did an excellent job.
Okay, all right, thank you. Please call the roll.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bowling,
Yes.
Representative Bridges, Representative Birch, Representative Cantrell, Representative Dossett, Representative Dotson,
Yes.
Representative Duplessis,
Yes.
Representative Flannery,
Yes.
Representative Fugate,
Yes.
Representative Johnson, Representative Kirk McCormick,
Yes.
Representative Miles,
Yes.
Representative Gibbons Prunty,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Yes.
Representative Stevenson,
Yes.
Representative Wesley,
Yes.
Representative White,
Yes.
Chair Gooch.
Yes. Okay, the bill does pass with favorable expression. Thank you. The next bill that we have is House Bill 393. That's also a bill that the Public Service Commission has asked for. This is the same bill that passed the House 93-1 last year, just didn't, with the session ending early, it didn't have time to pass.
Motion on the bill.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Karen, do you want to talk a little bit about this bill, maybe? Karen Wilson.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Yes, it's the same as House Bill 446 from last year. And the reason we are proposing this legislation is there have been a couple of times when water district commissioners were not able to complete the statutorily required training. And in at least one situation, if it's a new commissioner, if they cannot complete their training, they actually have to forfeit that position. The statute also provides for an increase in compensation for existing water district commissioners. If they complete additional training, they have an increase in their compensation. So this bill allows the PSC a degree of discretion to allow a water district commissioner up to 6 more additional months to complete their training. It would be, extenuating circumstances.
But I think some of this training,
Discretion.
Karen, is provided by the PSC, and with the pandemic last year, you weren't able to actually get people together and do some of that. So it's
Right.
definitely something that's needed. Do we have any questions? Do we have a motion and a second on the bill? Call the roll, please.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bowling, Representative Bridges, Representative Birch, Representative Cantrell, Representative Dossett, Representative Dotson,
Yes.
Representative Duplessis,
Yes.
Representative Flannery,
Aye.
Representative Fugate,
Yes.
Representative Johnson, Representative Kirk McCormick,
Yes.
Representative Miles,
Yes.
Representative Gibbons Prunty,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Yes.
Representative Stevenson, Representative Wesley,
Yes.
Representative White,
Yes.
and Chair Gooch.
Yes. The bill passes with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you, committee members. The next bill that we're going to hear is House Bill 535. Representative Santoro, please introduce yourself for the record and your guest, and then I think there's some people on that want to testify.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This is a new bill. It didn't get COVID last year, so we're starting all new on this one. Representative Sal Santoro from Boone County. We have a couple, I'll let Tom go ahead.
I'm Tom Bennett. I represent the Ecosystem Investment Partners, one of the mitigation companies that's done some work here in Kentucky.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm Tom Bennett. I represent the Ecosystem Investment Partners. They've done about $50 million worth of stream restoration and 100 miles of streams in Kentucky.
Then we have several on Zoom, I think. If you want them to identify themselves now for the record. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please. For the members that are on Zoom that are going to testify on this bill, would you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Go ahead, Fitz. You've done this before.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, it's Tom Fitzgerald with the Kentucky Resources Council. I'm just here to help answer any questions that you might have about the bill. We support the bill. At the risk of jeopardizing its passage, we think it's a good bill.
Boy. Okay, Nicholas, go ahead. Identify yourself.
Good morning. I'm Nicholas Dilks. You can call me Nick. I'm managing partner of Ecosystem Investment Partners that Tom referenced. We are a restoration company that has successfully built 4 stream mitigation banks in Kentucky and are pleased to support the bill.
And George.
Yes, I'm George Howard. I'm CEO of a small to medium business in Raleigh, North Carolina that's in the mitigation business, been in it about 25 years. We're seeking to do business in Kentucky, and I'm here to discuss the North Carolina fee program's approach to contracting for mitigation, which has a very similar life history to the Kentucky program.
Thank you, committee members. A lot of this came to my attention because of several big projects going on in my county and Boone County and across the Commonwealth. So House Bill 535 creates hundreds of private sector construction jobs across Kentucky, and it will restore streams and wetlands. This bill is supported by the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce and the Kentucky Resource Council. In order for businesses to get permits from the Army Corps of Engineers, they must get what's called a 404 permit. This takes up to 3 years or more in some cases. The alternative for these businesses is to pay fees into the Kentucky Stream and Wetlands Mitigation Fund. The fund has a severe backlog that exceeds the federal limits. It's time to let the private industry help keep this important program in place. Tennessee just lost its program for inefficiencies like this. That fund has $148 million, which creates hundreds of jobs and help businesses get construction permits. I'm going to let Tom take it over from here.
Now we're going to let Nick explain what's going on as far as his company in Kentucky. Nick, are you good?
Thank you again. We appreciate the opportunity to testify. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Again, my firm, Ecosystem Investment Partners, first came to Kentucky about 8 years ago to help provide stream and wetland mitigation credits to various development projects like were just mentioned. Since then, we've invested over $50 million. We've restored over 100 miles of streams across the state to generate credits that are used by all sorts of various projects, including highway projects that the Transportation Cabinet has used and other major development projects. We've shown that private firms like Ecosystem Investment Partners, like Restoration Systems that Mr. Howard represents, can effectively and efficiently deliver projects on the ground in a timely way, again, to provide the credits that are desperately needed by development while restoring and protecting Kentucky's environment. Because we use private capital to front the work to do this construction work, our projects actually produce restoration before the impacts occur. So there's no, quote, temporal loss of those environmental resources. It also is a very efficient way, again, for development projects to simply acquire credits to get their 404 permits. All of the firms that we've hired to do our construction, design, permitting, monitoring, and maintenance are Kentucky-based firms. We employ dozens and dozens of people to do these projects. These are good-paying jobs, oftentimes in very rural parts of Kentucky, where jobs are hard to come by. In particular, jobs that are focused on restoring the environment. This bill proposes to assist the Kentucky Wetland and Stream Fund to give them the tools to engage the private sector more efficiently, to allow firms to deliver large-scale wetland and stream restoration to the benefit of the fund, and as the representative said, to keep that fund in place. It is a good and necessary part of the mitigation program, as are the mitigation banks that we develop. In various parts of the state, because of the backlog in no projects being delivered, like the eastern part of the state and the Big Sandy watershed, and in northern Kentucky and Boone and Kenton County, in lieu fee credits are now not available because they're either sold out due to lack of projects being on the ground or inability to deliver. Firms like ours and George Howard's and others are ready and willing to invest capital to address this backlog and to avoid the issue that happened in Tennessee where the program was shut down due to lack of performance. So there's a great opportunity here for a real win-win, which is to get jobs back on the ground, good construction jobs on the ground, help the in-lieu fee perform as they're obligated to do under the federal laws, and to make sure that we rectify this. This is really about a win-win for economic development, job creation in a very difficult time, and particularly in rural parts of Kentucky, while meeting these important environmental obligations. So we appreciate the opportunity and again, support this and welcome any questions.
George, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. My name's George Howard. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, and I own a regional mitigation banking company, Restoration Systems, wishing to do business and hire people in Kentucky. I've come to support and answer questions about the full delivery approach to state mitigation procurement that North Carolina has used since 2003 to operate our mitigation fee program, now called the North Carolina Division of Mitigation Services. The NCDMS, through the full delivery approach, is the most successful mitigation fee program in the country. The program has spent nearly $800 million on 400 different full delivery mitigation sites throughout the state with 0 contract failures. Our company is proud to be responsible for over 50 of those mitigation sites. In the 20 years we have been building and fulfilling full delivery contracts, we have hired hundreds of land people, real estate lawyers, engineers, stream designers, contractors, equipment operators, tree planters, and monitoring personnel. And that is an abbreviated list. Our jobs are a beehive of activity and employment across multiple disciplines. A mitigation dollar goes a long way. Like the Kentucky program, the original North Carolina fee program struggled to meet its obligations in the early days. As reported in our state capital's newspaper, $58 million had built up and only 10 acres of wetland restored and no stream. When the state went to the full delivery approach, all the outstanding needs were met within just 4 years. More than 500 miles of stream have since been contracted and over 40,000 acres of wetland restored. It wasn't easy getting there, but we did. Our full delivery RFP has survived and improved over the last 2 decades. Everyone in North Carolina that follows this obscure subject are big fans of the program and its accomplishments. The DMS program itself, the mitigation providers, the business community, our state legislators, the state and federal regulators, and yes, even the environmentalists fully and enthusiastically support the full delivery approach and are proud of its accomplishments. It ticks like a clock in North Carolina in every place it has been used. We highly recommend the approach to Kentucky and look forward to answering questions. Thank you very much.
That is our testimony, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. How much money are we currently looking at? I think you may have mentioned that earlier, that you have already.
There is, in the fund currently is $148 million.
$148 million that would be projected to be spent in what time frame?
Well, I think George told you that when they've had a backlog in North Carolina, it took them 4 years to work out of it. The current concern is that the projects in Kentucky, the way that they're being administered now, is like we do in the state highway road plan, the 6-year road plan. We design programs, we bid programs, and we build programs, and that's the 6-year road plan. Unfortunately, Section 404 of the Federal Clean Water Act and the 2008 guidance from the Corps of Engineers and EPA says that you have to do this work within 3 years. And that's the challenge. Going through state processes, normal state processes, you're probably looking at 3 years to start with in normal fashion. Private industry, on the other hand, can hire people tomorrow. We can sit down at a local restaurant and negotiate the price of land, and it goes much quicker. And this is really about what this whole job is about. This whole discussion is about jobs. It's creating, it's that pot of money that's sitting there that could be hiring people, could be spending money in local economies, could be restoring the environment, which fits everybody's mission, the mission of
I have questions.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the bill, but I think we do have some members that have some questions. Representative McCormick, do you have some questions?
I do. I think Representative White has some too. Richard, you want to go first?
Well, what's the Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources had to say about this program?
Turn your mic on, Rich. Pull it over to you or something.
Yes, what's the Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources, what's their position on this?
Well, it's been a long time since I was able to officially speak for them, but this is, in our opinion, they should be for this because this is another tool in their toolbox to get the money spent and to complete the reclamation of land. When we started this program 20 years ago, we knew that we would be dealing with 700, 800, 900 acre chunks of land, 1,000 acre chunks of land with miles and miles of streams. You can't believe how many miles of streams are in 1,000 acres of Kentucky watershed. And the faster we restore those streams, it seems that fits perfectly in the mission of the Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources to restore and enhance Kentucky's wildlife and the natural resources.
Well, as the program is now, private entities can do this job. And what you're proposing, is that going to take it away from these private entities?
No. The private industries would be enhanced. There would be more private sector jobs created. Hundreds of private sector jobs could be created. And as George and Nick may be able to answer more specific questions.
When he talks about individual jobs, I can see, but is this going to cut out the little man locally in our region if they wanted to bid on these jobs? Or if this bill passes, will it only be large companies that's going to get the contract and then they're going to hire local people to do the work?
An answer for the way it played out in North Carolina, it ended up being a mix of a couple of companies from out of state with the majority in state. And in fact, a lot of engineering firms that previously had just done engineering and design of streams and work like that, they ended up getting into the full delivery business and actually working to acquire the land and take care of the site long-term and build it. And it's going to be a local job creator from top to bottom. Some of the finance and risk may be taken by the larger companies at first, but like I said, we're still a small business. We work in about 6 or 7 states, but it's not big money, and we can't do it without the local people. It's an absolutely local job, from finding the land to purchasing the land to any kind of design has to be done locally because you have to be out there very frequently to do it. So it's a sticky job creator, but yeah, folks from out of state at first are certainly going to be involved.
Did that answer your question?
Not entirely.
Maybe I could try to, this may get a little technical, but the notion is that currently the state works through what's called a design bid build program, which does involve local firms. It does involve some out-of-state firms as well to design and then bid and then build these projects. The problem is that program just takes a very long time. It's very iterative in process and doesn't allow for private capital to come in, which is what we bring outside of the state, to go and accelerate that work. Under a turnkey or full delivery program like is being proposed, it allows firms to, with a contract, go ahead and spend private capital to go ahead and put those jobs on the ground immediately, with the promise that they ultimately will be able to sell the project to the in lieu fee later. And so the big difference is that it brings all of that job workforce forward versus spreading it out over the next 3, 5, 10 years. And we absolutely, so far, have used all local firms. But what firms like we do is we bring the outside capital so that we can accelerate that work and get the jobs on the ground now.
Yeah, I think it's important to note, and I know Nick would agree, that we don't profit on these jobs. Originally, we invest in them. The profits, these jobs extend, I believe in Kentucky, would it be 5 or 7 years, Nick? But they go out a long, long time. They're paid incrementally over years. And any profit we make is all at risk to the last year. So we're investing for 4 or 5 years to get through a long multi-year program and get it on the ground now. So not only the money in the fee program that's built up, but our capital would come first and then be paid back with that money. That's what accelerates it.
Let me put it to you this way. You would be the contractor on these jobs. And then primarily you will sub them out or either hire local people to do the work. Is that correct? Okay.
Completely. We don't have any designers in our firm, nor any construction equipment or any of that. We locate the sites, and we'll do some of the negotiating with local people. Generally, we have local landmen, and then we'll perform it with local people. All of our people are experts in the disciplines that they manage, but they do not perform the work. So we would have managers. We've only got 17 people in Raleigh. But if we had 3 or 4 mitigation sites up there, we'd have about 20 or 30 people working locally to implement them.
If I could add too, just to be clear, this would be competitively bid. So firms like ours and like Restoration Systems would be contracted with, but it would be available to all firms, both in-state and out-of-state, to competitively bid and bring projects forth that the state could then choose to accept or not. It really just allows, creativity and private sector to bring opportunities to the table, where right now there really is no mechanism for folks to bring opportunities in lieu fee.
Representative McCormick, you have another question?
My whole goal for coming to Frankfurt was to protect and create jobs for people in Eastern Kentucky in my district. We've been hit hard by the coal industry, so I just wanted to make sure that the opportunity, if those waterways in our area became available, that people would have an opportunity for employment. So thank you.
May I comment?
Yes, certainly.
Representative McCormick, what this is going to do is put coal miners back to work.
Yeah.
That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. I
Yeah,
do too.
But we've had some questions
That's good.
from constituents that felt like this might prevent some of the local people from bidding on the contracts.
No.
Okay. Well,
all
If I may, in North Carolina, the bids are very, very frequent. It's a very liquid market. It's not like a state computer services contract where you're going to go out and get one firm to do it. We've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of RFPs in North Carolina, and anybody's willing to participate, and market participants come in and out of it depending on whether, they thought it was in, an opportunity to do business. It's a very, very fluid market with dozens and dozens of opportunities for people to win or lose because it's competitive.
thank you. We just wanted some clarification so that we can answer to our constituents.
So let me ask the question. So that, if when you're looking at locating a project or whatever, and then you determine what needs to be done, do any of the local contractors then, are they able to view that there's an actual RFP out there where they can, bid on that particular?
This is all done through the finance cabinet.
Through the finance
Yes,
cabinet.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Everything and competitively bid through the finance cabinet.
Okay. Representative Wesley, you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, that summed it up right there.
Okay.
And I want to say also, I want to thank Representative Saltoro for bringing this bill forth.
Representative Bowling, did you have a question?
Just a brief comment. I appreciate you bringing this bill. This is a win-win-win for folks all across Kentucky on all different sides of this issue. And, right now, just looking at this graph, we're spending $4.6 million a year on these projects right now. And there is $148 million sitting in that pot. And so talk about bringing jobs and making sure those local contractors, Representative McCormick, it's going to make sure that money gets out there, gets in our district, gets spent, fixes the streams. But those local contractors, they're going to benefit greatly from this, whether they get the big contracts at the top end or whether they are contracted out to do some of the small work. There's going to be a lot more money out there for anybody in this field.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have.
Yes, Representative White.
In my opinion, it would be better to cut the red tape out for these small contractors where they can go ahead and get into the job and get the work done, because I would think having you all involved in this situation would have to add extra cost to this.
Can I answer that? This is Nick Gill.
Go ahead.
So the history of our involvement in Kentucky actually came about because two firms, one a design firm in Lexington, and Tom Stream Restoration Systems is based in Pikesville, I believe, came to us because they were trying to do work for the in lieu fee program, but couldn't get through that process. And so they said, EIP, could you come and basically provide us the capital so that we can build projects to satisfy mitigation needs? And that's what we've done. So all of the work we've done to date that I described earlier has used only Kentucky contractors. And I think if they were here today, what they would say is that the involvement of firms like us and George's really allows them to move forward more expeditiously, more efficiently, and actually drive down the cost. We sell our credits at a price that's below what the in lieu fee charges because of the efficiencies that we can bring in not having delay and so forth. So it may seem a little counterintuitive, but the experience has been that by allowing these types of full delivery projects, you actually allow those local contractors to have a more efficient source of capital and a way to get the projects going, if it will.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Well, I know that, what is it, about 15 years ago, Kentucky, we had a Secretary of Natural Resources and Environment that actually wanted us to take over the 404 water permit things. That didn't happen at the time, and we're not here to argue about whether or not we should have or shouldn't have, but, much of those types of things are completely out of our control because they're handled in Washington, so. Okay. You have a question? No, okay. We have a motion on the bill and a second. Please call the roll.
Representative Blanton,
Explain my vote briefly, Mr. Chairman.
Certainly.
Because of the respect to the opinion of Mr. Tom Fitzgerald, I know this is good for our environment and for our streams, and therefore I vote aye today, Tom.
Representative Bowling,
Yes.
Representative Bridges, Representative Birch, Representative Cantrell, Representative Dossett, Representative Dotson,
Yes.
Representative Duplessis,
Yes.
Representative Flannery.
I vote yes. I'd like to explain my vote, Mr. Chairman, briefly. Appreciate Representative Santoro for bringing this. Mr. Bennett, thank you for being here today. I believe this bill has a potential to have a very positive impact in my district, particularly in Lawrence County. And I look forward to moving this bill forward and learning more about what you all have to offer. Thank you all.
Representative Fugate,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes, and if it's in order, I'd like to record yes votes on the previous bills as well.
I'll come back to you for those.
Thank you, sir.
Representative Kirk McCormick,
Can I vote conditionally?
I don't think that's one of the options.
Yes.
Thank you.
Representative Miles,
Yes.
Representative Gibbons Prunty,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Pass.
Representative Stevenson,
Yes.
Representative Wesley,
Yes.
Representative White,
Can I explain my vote?
Yes.
I told Tom on the phone, I would be behind this, and I did. But since that talk, and I was elected to represent my constituents, I've had some calls about this bill, and I'm going to have to vote no. But it's passed, so I don't think that would affect it. Thank you, though.
Chair Gooch.
Yes. Okay, the bill does pass with favorable expression. That same should pass. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much. Tom, when I have another bill, I'll be calling you then.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to have testified today. I hope I didn't talk too long.
Yeah, you were just right on spot. Thank you. At this time, Representative Johnson wants to record yes votes. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is correct.
On
392
House Bill
and 393.
392 and 393. So
Thanks,
duly
sir.
noted and recorded. No other business